Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we're delighted that you've welcomed us into your home. You know, we certainly would love to hear from you. So send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@EWTN.com. And remember, you can always listen to our show at EWTN's Podcast Central. Go out to EWTN.com/radio/podcast or whatever podcast land you're listening from. Now, today we're welcoming Dr. George Delgado to our show. He is the founder of the Abortion Pill Reversal Network, and he's the president of Steno Institute, a nonprofit organization established in 2018 with a goal of furthering awareness, education, and research about abortion pill reversal. And as of June 2025, this is so wonderful, more than 7,000 babies have been saved by the abortion pill reversal. And he has numerous awards for his pro-life activities, most recently the Life Award at Live Action 2025 Gala. And that's Lila Rose, a very big organization. Now, today, he's here to speak with us about his newest book. It's called Abortion Pill Reversal, A Second Chance at Choice. Go out to his website, stenoinstitute.org, and also abortionpillreversal.com. And, you know, we have the privilege of managing and running a pregnancy medical center in Birmingham, Alabama. And we have had the privilege of assisting and aiding some of our clients who have participated in the abortion pill reversal. And our part in them was to scan them, make sure the baby was viable, make sure the baby's in the gestational age of the pregnancy, making sure it's in the uterus and not in the fallopian tubes. All the things that we do for free in pregnancy resource centers all throughout the country. And we had babies born.
So we work with the doctor that's part of Delgado, Dr. Delgado's network, and he does that end of it, protocol, caring, and then we work with them. But yeah, to hold one of those babies, it was really unusual because I've held so many babies whose parents were abortion-minded and they lived, they chose life, and to hold them. But to hold an abortion pill reversal baby,
right?
I was like, this baby was in process. This person was in process,
right?
And this person's alive, right. And the mother's like, yeah, really happy.
And in both of those two cases, both moms have shared with us that when they took the first pill, immediately they regretted it. Yeah. And immediately they started to cry. And immediately they reached out for help. Yeah. And they had resources from sidewalk counselors who were out there giving them the 1-800 number on the abortion pill reversal. So it takes a whole pro-life community to make a difference.
So if you know anybody, you hear they've taken the abortion pill, you've got this show, you've got the information, and you can give a call and they can get help. We'll be right back, plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome. You're at home with Jim and Joy, and our guest today is Dr. George Delgado. He's the author of a wonderful book that I think you all should get. It's called The Abortion Pill Reversal. Go out to his website, stenoinstitute.org, and abortionpillreversal.com. We have so much to talk about today, but first we want you to tell our audience quickly a recap about the abortion pill reversal, what it does, and the impact that it's having on the community.
Why did you write the book?
I wrote the book so that I could increase awareness about abortion pill reversal, because I speak a lot about this and go on shows, but I keep finding many people have not heard about it. So that was the purpose to write the book, to tell the story about how mifepristone causes chemical abortions and how we can reverse those chemical abortions with progesterone, and that it's safe, it's effective, and women who are given that opportunity are extremely grateful.
And you found in your studies very little ill effects from this, or none at all, or those that are doing this reversal, seem to have less impact than those who are delivering in another way. So it's pretty it's safe.
It is very safe,
No
yeah.
abnormalities.
We have a study that was just approved for publication. It'll be coming out in Lineker Quarterly. And in that, we show that the bleeding rate, I'm talking about significant bleeding more than a regular period, was only 0.3% in the women who took progesterone. There are no maternal mortalities, of course, no requirement for antibiotics in over 750 women, just a couple of hospitalizations. Those were in the failed reversal women. So extremely safe profile.
Well, progesterone, progestation, it's just a really good thing. So, okay, we have so many women who've miscarried, haven't been able to carry babies, and we find out it's progesterone, and they need to get on board with the doctor to help them right at the beginning to get this. And I tell you, frankly, in our own family, it was, we were kind of like explaining this to some of their doctors that we had, and then we left them because they weren't urgent. Like, we've lost a baby or two, can you look into the progesterone thing? And they weren't doing that. And so we switched. We said, we got to get a doctor that kind of understands this.
That's more
It's
pro-life.
incredible.
Right.
So progesterone's always a good thing for the most part, right? I mean,
Well, it's an essential thing for pregnancy.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
And it's been used safely in pregnancy for over 60 years.
Mm-hmm. Tell our family how, if the girl's at the clinic and the abortion clinic and she just has taken her first dosage of mifepristone and now she's driving home, how soon does she need to, what is the time frame where she needs to take the progesterone?
We've had success up to 72 hours after the ingestion of mifepristone. But as our study shows, these days, almost all the time, it's within 48 hours, and the majority of those within 24 hours. So we're getting to these women very quickly. They're fortunately calling the hotline pretty soon and getting them connected. So that's a good thing. We think that getting the progesterone started sooner is probably better.
Right. And girls are, because everyone lives on their phones, so if they hadn't had an encounter with a sidewalk counselor who might have given her a pamphlet on the abortion pill reversal, when she gets in the car, her boyfriend or she might be right on their phone looking at abortion pill reversal. And then what's going to come up if she's looking at that?
So usually they'll put something in like, how do I stop my abortion? And what'll come up is abortionpillreversal.com, which is the network website. They'll go to that, and there'll be lots of great information there. Then there's a chat feature. They can start chatting with the operator, and then if they want to go to the next step, they have a phone call with the RN hotline nurse, who then will determine if she wants to actually reverse. If she does, then she'll connect her with a clinic or a doctor who's trained, competent, and very caring and willing to help her.
in your book, you speak about the abortion pill, mifepristone, the other pills that go along with that. And you said not to be confused with the morning after pill. And I could tell you, there's a lot of confusion. So what is the difference between the two? What does the morning after pill, what is that taken for? What does that do? What do people believe it does? What else does it do?
Sure. So first of all, the abortion pill is called the abortion pill because it's taken by a woman who knows she's pregnant with the intent to abort her baby. It's approved up to 10 weeks of pregnancy. On the other hand, the morning after pill, sometimes called Plan B and other names, it's taken by a woman after so-called unprotected intercourse in a contraceptive intent. Now, truth be known, sometimes these pills are abortifacient. The woman doesn't know she's pregnant. It can cause an early chemical abortion. And there's a second one called ulipristol, which is approved to be taken up to 5 days after intercourse. Ulipristol is actually very similar to mifepristone. It's a progesterone receptor blocker. So that one definitely has abortifacient capabilities. But it's important to know that one is taken with a contraceptive intent, the other one by a woman who knows she's pregnant and wants to abort her baby. That's
Right.
mifepristone.
And the morning after pill, that also has a time frame to it. So tell our family what the time frame is from the unprotected sex.
So for the conventional ones, it's 72 hours. For ulipristol, it's up to 5 days after so-called unprotected sex.
And I just want to say to the family so that they understand how crazy this whole world is because I'm seeing the clients, as you are, the clients are coming to us saying, and we ask them on their intake, have you taken the morning after pill? Yes. How many times have you taken the morning after pill? I've taken it 3 times this week because I had unprotected sex 3 times with my boyfriend. And it's about $50, and you can get it at Walmart and any drugstore right at the counter. He's buying that bringing it to the date, and then encouraging her to take the pill. So now she's filled her body with these toxins. What are the contents of the morning after pill? What's in it?
So it's a high dose of a contraceptive, a artificial hormone to jam the system. That's what most of them are. And then the other one is the ulipristal. And you're right, the lines are being blurred, and I talk about this in my book. In fact, there's a study done in Moldova, an Eastern European country with a population, I think, of only 3 million, where they did a study there and they had the women take mifepristone once a month to see if they would have any detected pregnancies, and they didn't. So you can see they're really trying to blur the lines purposely between contraception and abortion.
With the morning after pill, and you can correct me on this, supposedly it's to stop the ovulation or egg and sperm from connecting, but it doesn't always stop that. And so it can become an abortifacient, as you said, it becomes an abortion. So we have a lot of people are using this as birth control, and they feel like I'm really being responsible. I don't believe in abortion. That's why I'm taking the morning after pill every time I have sex. Or as you were saying, that men are very proud of themselves because they take this. They're not using a prophylactic or whatever. They're saying that this is the best thing to do. So they're taking it. They might be having sexual intercourse 2 or 3 times a week. So I think women need to know the danger to them. It's the same thing at the abortion mills. We would say to them, let me say to you, all the lawsuits against this doctor and the abortions he's done, this is a risk to your life. They're thinking about themselves, not thinking about the baby. Right. Okay, so we get them on that. People need to know that there's a risk, these women, the risk to their lives by taking this multiple times during the week. It can't be positive. They're synthetic hormones?
Yes, they are. And it's never been studied, taking it time after time again. So they really don't know what they're doing. They don't know if they're increasing the risk of breast cancer, which they probably are. Who knows what else?
Okay. All right. That's important for us to understand. That's why the book's important as well. Not just abortion pill reversal, these chemicals and what they could possibly be doing. Speak to us about how this book's divided up, some of your favorite parts in it.
Yeah. So I wrote it in 3 parts. The first part is where I go into how I got started with abortion pill reversal, my story. And then I, in very simple terms so that everybody can understand, I explain how the abortion pill works. Then the next chapter is how abortion pill reversal works. Then a chapter that I think is very interesting is how the abortion pill mifepristone got approved in the United States. Yeah. It was rammed through by the Clinton administration. The rules were broken, laws were broken, like no other drug before. It had super favored status. And then I talk about what's this current status of abortion pill reversal in the U.S. and another chapter about around the world. That sets the stage for part 2, where I have first-person accounts written by the women themselves, women who've gone through abortion pill reversal. This is my favorite part of the book, these stories, and they're just wonderful. And then I also have first-hand accounts of some of the hotline nurses, one of whom is my wife, who wrote a wonderful chapter, and then a couple of chapters by some doctor heroes, Dr. Matthew Harrison and Dr. Dermot Kearney. Then part 3, I go have a chapter of common themes. Common themes I see in these women's stories are, number 1, they always have someone in their corner supporting them. Number 2, there's almost always immediate regret. And number 3, almost all of them have some faith background.
Wow.
And then a chapter on some of the names that these abortion pill reversal babies have gotten and the depth of these names. And you look at these names, and I studied some of these names. I think the parents didn't know all the meanings that these names had, but they're just beautiful in how they dovetail together and how they really show God's love for us and the importance of life.
Not to put you on the spot, do you have any examples? A name come to mind for you?
Well, a couple. One is Christian, and this is, the mother also wrote a chapter in the book, and he is really an amazing boy now in high school. He was walking by his mom's computer when she was writing her chapter. He started to read it. He said, "Mom, is this about me?" And before she could answer, he had a big smile on his face, and he said, "I'm a miracle baby." Yeah. So there's several forms of Mary in there. There's Zechariah, Isaiah, all of these great Old Testament names, just beautiful. And even some of the secular names, when you dig down into the meanings, are just...
Any Georges or Delgado?
No, I was looking for that. I was hoping so.
You know, Doc, what you're saying is so true, because we have clients who come to us, maybe they didn't do the abortion pill, they were abortion-minded, and then they decided to choose life. And they named their baby Blessing, Precious. One woman named her baby Genesis. or miracle. One woman who just reached out to me, her son's 16 years old, the other day, because it was her birthday, and she named him Prince. You know, so it is, because you know what it is? It's written on our hearts that life is good. And when we understand that and comprehend that, and we have someone witness that to us, it awakens that in us. It's like, what was I thinking? You know, and so we all want to live in the lane of mercy and grace and hope, because the abortion industry is selling despair and hopelessness and death and curse to life. And so we have to keep being with the clarion call and just saying, no, this isn't the end of the story, and there is a second chance of choice. I love that part.
Yeah. What are your critics saying? Your detractors and those who attack abortion pill reversal, what you're doing? Is it at the scientific level? Another level you mentioned in the first show. What are the critics saying?
Well, the critics saying are that it's not safe and that it's not effective. Those are the main things. And the third thing is that women rarely regret, and we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So they're really spreading lies and misinformation, and they're using a small study that was done by them in order to disprove abortion pill reversal that had 3 women calling 911 because they were bleeding, and they stopped the study after that. But if you look at the 3 women, one of them had been given progesterone, and when she got to the emergency department, the study itself says that she needed no further attention, so she didn't need to be there. The other 2 were in the placebo group. They had not gotten the progesterone. They had gotten mifepristone only, and they had significant bleeding and needed emergency surgical abortions, and one needed transfusion. So it was really not giving progesterone that was shown to be unsafe in that study, not giving the progesterone itself.
I remember hearing that in the news when it first came out, and I was like, oh, what is that? It was really made you think for a moment, so thank you for answering that clearly.
Yeah, I explain that carefully in the book. I also have a chapter in there comparing CPR to APR, and CPR saves 1 life, but APR really saves 2 lives, the physical life of the preborn baby and the spiritual life of the mother. And it's much higher effectiveness, and many times people after CPR come out neurologically impaired. APR babies come out perfectly normal, no increased risk of birth defects.
Right. And see, that is part of the lie. You know, we know the devil is so about this movement because he comes to rob, kill, and destroy, and he's such a liar. And we've had clients come to us and say, they told me when I took the first pill that I needed to take the second pills, make sure I take them, because if I didn't and I had a baby, the baby would be full of birth defects. Then they're telling the clients, if you go to the emergency room with complications from having taken both pills, don't tell them you took the abortion pill. Just tell them you're having a spontaneous miscarriage. They don't want a data trace of anything. They don't want the information to be exposed to say, you know what, this isn't good for women. They don't want that lie exposed.
Right, and some of my colleagues have done studies looking at complications of the abortion pill, and it's been very difficult for them to tease it out because of this miscoding, because the doctors at the hospital, they don't know what's really going on. So it has made it quite difficult. And some of the complications then are attributed to pregnancy, and it makes pregnancy look more dangerous, and actually those complications are from abortions.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break at this point and hold you over for the final segment. Abortion pill reversal, a second chance at choice. Ignatius Press. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away. Wrapping up our conversation with Dr. George Delgado on the abortion pill reversal, a second chance at choice. What do you see as the future of abortion pill reversal, possibly a network with the doctors that you have? What are you seeing? What are you envisioning?
What I envision, my hope and prayer, is that it will become what we call the standard of care. That doctors, whether they're pro-choice, pro-abortion, pro-life, that if a woman comes and says, I want to reverse my chemical abortion, they will know what to do. They will either treat her themselves or send her to the emergency department, because it is an emergency. It's sort of a code 911 for the preborn baby. And so emergency room would be the perfect place to go to get quick care, get an ultrasound quickly, get the progesterone started right away, and then a referral to either the family physician or the OBGYN, just like we do with any other situation. that's really what I envision, that doctors will know about it,
Yeah.
will be willing to treat them, even if they're not in favor
Yeah.
of life.
Well, what's going to be the marketing campaign or instruction for that? I mean, how are you going to do that? I guess peer reviews of things with the medical community and say, you've got a number of those, even more saying, this is really, clear, this is positive, not negative, whether your
Yeah, so
choice or not, we can do this.
It's a multi-pronged approach, and we want to let the public know, and that's the purpose of being on shows like this,
Okay.
the purpose of writing the book for the general public, so that if there's someone who is seeking counsel from someone else in this situation, right away it'll be on top of the mind, oh, well, this can be reversed. It's also through medical research that doctors will feel comfortable recommending it. That's why we just published
Yeah.
our study that's coming out this year in Lineker Quarterly. We have 2 studies, more studies planned for this year, and one might make it into this year, if not the year after. So we have lots of research planned so we can increase the level of scientific inquiry to make it more acceptable to doctors and other medical professionals. And then we have the outreach to the policymakers. The day after the March for Life coming up in a couple of weeks, I will be speaking at the Lawmakers Summit put on by Live Action in Washington, D.C. And there we're going to tell them about abortion pill reversal so it'll be on their radar.
Right. And the beautiful thing is to keep telling the truth and telling the truth, like you said, so someone could say, well, wait a minute, because it could be your daughter, it could be a niece or a nephew, and go, but I heard somebody talking about that, and maybe there is an abortion pill reversal, so that it just like becomes a flood of the land of information, just saying, you know what, this isn't the end of the story, because with Jesus, it's never the end of the story.
I don't know who it was who said it, but they say if you tell a lie long enough, people will begin to believe it.
Bernard Nathanson.
If you tell the truth long enough, they certainly should believe it. Thank you for telling the truth. Thank you for your willingness to be used by the Lord, how He's prepared you for such a time as this. And thank you for the book, so much great information. But your humility really does come across in this. It's just like you can't believe you were chosen for this, God prepared you for this, and how much gratitude comes across in this book to the Lord and to the people that you've met along the way. So thank you. Look forward to having you back soon, Doctor. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
God
The
bless
Lord
you.
is good.
Abortion Pill Reversal, A Second Chance at Choice, Ignatius Press, EWTN.com, EWTNRC.com. Get it there. You're an important part of this EWTN family and never alone. You're always at home with Jim and Joy. Life, marriage, and the family will prevail. Bye now.